Raz, where are you?
Guys, I'm trapped. My boss wants me here.
We're not leaving without you. Just go downstairs now.
Rapunzel!
Look for my CHR.
That was fun.
Wait till you see where we're going.
Introducing an all-new crossover. Toyota CHR. Toyota, let's go places.
Spot in the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament, so you know both of them are going to show up and play their very hardest today, and it should make for a very interesting match.
We should be in for a good one today, Garrett. Be sure to keep it right here. Kickoff coming up next on The Valley on ESPN3.
Check out all the options you have at Dorset Nissan during our summer sales event on all of the Nissans. So come on in and see all of our trucks, SUVs, and cars, and see how we're building loyalty through excellence at Dorset Nissan, US 41 South Terre Haute, or DorsetNissan.com.
The Missouri Valley Conference kicks off the 2017 Women's Soccer Championship November 3rd and 5th at Allison South Stadium in Springfield, Missouri, presented by Mediacom and Meyer Communications. Watch as the Valley's 4 top teams go for the goal to secure their spot in the NCAA tournament. For tickets and more information, call 417-836-7678 or visit MissouriStateTix.com. The Missouri Valley Conference, celebrating 25 years of women's athletics.
Check out all the options you have at Dorset Ford, whether it's F-150, America's best-selling truck, or an SUV. We've got you covered on all the Fords. So come on in for sales and service and see how we're building loyalty through excellence at Dorset Ford in beautiful Marshall, or check us out at DorsetFord.com.
Welcome back for Valparaiso at Indiana State. Could be a tough battle today. We'll see who can get the edge with our Pepsi. Keys to the game.
Chase, there are a few things Valparaiso needs to focus on today, and one of those things is effort. And I know it sounds pretty simple, but this is the second to last game in a long season, and a season where they just joined a new conference and they want to finish strong. Coach Maravich told us that he wants to win all the 50-50 balls so they can play possession. The other thing they need to do is limit chances. Indiana State's offense is starting to click at the right time. They racked up 17 shots on goal in their last match against Evansville. Valparaiso can't afford to let ISU put that many shots up today. And for ISU, I mentioned that they had 17 shots in their last match. The issue is only one of them went in. That is why they need to finish their opportunities when they do get them. They also need to score first. In every single one of their losses this year, their opponent has scored first. ISU needs to find the net and do it early in this one.
And Garrett, as we take a look at the Toyota starting lineups for Valparaiso, you're going to really be able to tell that they rely heavily on their 2 powerful forwards.
That's correct, Chase. Corey Griffith and Sydney Griffin rank first and second in the conference in shots, 2 key players in Valparaiso scoring chances.
And for Indiana State, they have Tessa Leon, who's been stepping it up recently for the Sycamores.
Leon has been fantastic for Indiana State in the second half of the season especially. From New Zealand, she was a bit quiet early on in the season, but doing everything right recently, including scoring in the team's last match against Evansville from more than 30 yards out.
And we've mentioned that these games here carry a lot of weight, and you can tell why as we take a look at the Missouri Valley Conference standings.
This game has postseason implications right now as you see Valparaiso just above Indiana State in the standings, but a win for Indiana State here would put them at a tie with Valparaiso. So right now, both of these 2 teams looking to sneak into the conference tournament.
So there's a lot that can happen for that last spot in. This Missouri Valley Conference, they've played tough throughout everything, and Indiana State trying to get this late run to be able to make a chance at the Missouri Valley Conference tournament.
And looking at Valparaiso, they've been doing an excellent job. This is their first year in the Missouri Valley Conference, and it's crazy to think that they're having this much success. Coming in 8-8 record, and right now looking like they're going to try and solidify their spot in the Missouri Valley Conference tournament if they can get a win here today.
And last year they played in the Horizon League, went 5-4 there, tied for 4th place in their tournament. So a lot of, improvement. Being able to have a chance to make the Missouri Valley Conference tournament coming out of the Horizon League, a lot of progress and making a lot of noise just in their first season in the conference.
And a lot of that goes to the credit John Maravich, a guy that's been with the program a long time, but head coach for 10 years at Valparaiso.
Coach who has found a lot of success. And Indiana State's Julie Hanley is a newer coach. It's her second season with the program.
And what's funny enough, Chase, is these 2 coaches know each other, not just a little bit. They know each other extremely well. Maravich coached Hanley at the Olympic Development Program level when she was younger and coming up as a player. Started off as a field player, and Maravich helped her move to the goalkeeper position where she went on to play and was very successful.
And an early push here for Indiana State. Katie Wells going to send a shot on goal and just outside of the near post.
And that was a fantastic long ball from Riley Teal over to the left side, and good connection with number 5, Katie Wells. You see her running this down, and instead of cutting back and trying to make something else happen by dribbling, just decides to get the shot off and throw something at the net early.
You mentioned Indiana State had 17 shots against Evansville. That's something that looks like they're going to try to progress on here today.
And yes, they had 17 shots, 9 of them on goal, so good numbers for a team that earlier on in the season and last year in the first season under Hanley, this team didn't get a lot of shots on goal. So you're seeing some progress, but then you just got to capitalize on it.
Indiana State able to set back. And a good give and go there.
Just fantastic touch from Katie Wells, getting her foot in and sending that to Leong. And Leong trying to cross it in, but no one there.
So Indiana State going to have a throw-in in their offensive third. And miscommunication there from Wells' pass. Valparaiso now with a push. Trying to send the cross in, and Indiana State's defense with the answer.
And there you saw Katie Sullivan and Sydney Griffin going at it down the right sideline. Griffin putting on the speed and almost beating Sullivan, but a little contact slows Griffin down enough, and Sullivan will stuff that pass, and looks like going to be a corner kick here for the Crusaders.
So first corner kick of the day. Valparaiso with a set piece with a lot of their players spread around inside the box.
And this is a learning moment here for Indiana State. In the last game, they got scored on off of a corner kick because it bent in. And that's something that simply can't happen at any level.
And no opportunity there for the Crusaders. So as that one goes out, it'll be a goal kick for Riscosa. Trying to go out towards Wells at midfield.
Perfectly timed pass there, trying to get it to Teal, streaking up the right sideline, but just a little too much on it. Right now, this turf, the ball moving very quickly.
You see John Maravich, it's his 10th season with Valparaiso, and we've talked a little bit about him so far.
Guy that has had a lot of success, and that comes with being with the program a long time. Yes, this is his 10th year as head coach, but even before that, he was with Valparaiso. Most wins as a coach at Valparaiso in the school's soccer history.
Came across that milestone midway through last season. Coming into this season, he had an overall record of 90, 69, and 27. Aggressive play so far. Indiana State looking to set back, but the pressure's on. And now you'll take a look at Julie Hanley. You mentioned it's her second season with Indiana State.
Doing a pretty good job getting the team going in the right direction. Hanley, just like Maravich, actually learned some things from him while she was playing under him as he was an assistant in the ODP system. But one thing that we've learned from both of these coaches, talking to both, is they focus on the process, not always the result. And that's something that I think in sports, especially at the collegiate level, people are so competitive and there's so much drive to win that you don't always focus on the process of how it gets done. You just focus on the end result. You don't care how it happens. And that's something that when you talk to both of these coaches, you learn that they care about how things get done, not just that it gets done.
And we've mentioned that they've had a very close relationship. Hanley got a lot of her coaching styles from Maravich.
When we spoke to her earlier today, in fact, she was talking about how they kept in touch after she moved on and moved away from the Indiana Olympic Development Program, but they kept in touch, and while she was waiting to hear back and in a possibility of a position to get the job at Indiana State. She actually spoke with Maravich about it, and he told her, you're ready. You can do this. You have to accept it if you get offered the job. And she did.
And that one's going to be sent out of bounds. Riley Teal's going to throw in for Indiana State. A good little dump pass there for Indiana State. Now splitting a few defenders. And just before getting inside the box, that one taken away.
Valparaiso's defense has been pretty formidable this season, and a lot of it has to do with the consistency that they put back there. A few players, Sydney Gutunis, Natalia Contul, and Allie Quillen, all starting almost every single game this season.
There are actually 3 of 4 players who have started all matches this season for Valparaiso, so a lot of movement throughout their starting lineup. But something that's been staying secure is that back line.
That's something that Maravich wants to take pride in, is his back line. And he said for the most part they have been pretty consistent. One game that stuck out to him, though, was the loss in overtime against Northern Iowa earlier this season. That game on October 15th lost 2-1, and he said the defense just played loosely.
And that's something that Valparaiso is trying to fix right now. They lost to UNI in that 2-1 overtime game, and then coming up right after that was a 1-0 loss to Illinois State. So they're trying to get those extra points here today to try to secure that spot in the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament.
And on the other side of the ball, Indiana State's really in a win-or-go-home position. So they have to win out if they want any chance at getting into the MVC tournament. But they were in the position just like this last year, and they said they liked it because if you're in control of your own destiny, then you don't have to bet on other people losing. You can just control what you can control, and that's the best part about sports, and that's the best part about the end of this MVC season.
And rough play is going to bring out a foul there. And Indiana State, you mentioned, had a little bit of a run at the end of last year, got themselves into the semifinals of the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament, and that was in Coach Julie Hanley's first season with Indiana State.
First year as a head coach as well, doing a great job with this young Indiana State team. As you see, Bree Riscosa, a sophomore from Bloomingdale, Illinois, getting the start after sitting out last game. But you mentioned going into the tournament last year, but they also had a lot of momentum coming into the tournament because they had a few big wins. Looking at it, beat Drake 3-2 in the regular season. Drake, always a solid program in the Missouri Valley Conference. Beat Loyola last year, which was the win that really propelled them into the conference tournament, and then beat Drake again. So it's all about what you do down the stretch, and Indiana State proved that last year.
Indiana State looking to try to make a little bit of a run like they did last year. Sycamore's going to send that ball up. Nowhere to go, though. Valparaiso, now it's a battle at midfield. And the defense from Teal. Looks like Teal hit the ground, so that'll be another foul.
And Teal's a bit of an interesting player because she's kind of like a Swiss Army knife. She can play all over the field. Came in as a defender, changed a little bit to midfield this year, scored some goals. She can go up and attack. She can stay back and defend. Just saw her get a nice takeaway from Valparaiso.
And another takedown as Jordan Denton hits the turf. And we're going to see another foul. So we've seen a really physical matchup. We knew coming into this, Indiana State's a little bit more of a scrappy team. So something we might have expected, especially recently, with how they've been playing.
This Indiana State team plays very physical, doesn't shy away from contact, and it all starts with the defensive line. Katie Sullivan, we saw her getting into it with a forward for Valparaiso earlier in this game, and Casey Wallace, another player, just an absolute brick wall. Team does not want to shy away from contact. They want to set the tone.
And now a through ball over towards Wells. Maintaining position, trying to find the cross. Sends it in, and that one booted up. Maybe a chance here for the Sycamores, and a slide comes in.
And they're going to whistle that on Tessa Leong there, who was getting ready, gearing up for a big shot at the top of the 18, and a bit of an interesting call, but Katie Wells and Leong connecting very well on that last play, as you see Leong just about to rip one, but Valparaiso bringing a few players and jumping in front of that.
Fouls already. Indiana State with 3, Valparaiso with 2. So 5 fouls here early on.
We've seen a lot of fouls from this Indiana State team. Like I said, they set the tone, and they carry that tone throughout the game. It's been a recurring theme to see all these fouls in Indiana State. Never a team to shy away from competition, no matter who they're playing.
That one finds its way out for a Valparaiso throw-in. Trying to go midfield and overthrown. And there you see the fancy footwork coming from Wells. Sends in a cross. And coming out of the net, the ball's still loose. Now finally picked up.
What a play that was. Wells puts that one into the box, and it looked like there was going to be an opportunity to score, but you saw the goalie Drew Moulton just laying down in front of the ball, and there was nothing Indiana State could do. And a very heads-up play from Valparaiso's defense just to sit on top of that ball and wait for the goalie to pick it up. Moulton helping out her team with a big save there.
We've seen Indiana State be able to get this ball not only into their offensive third, but a lot of times into the box. Valparaiso's defense, their back line, we know they're strong, and they've had the answer every time so far.
And we've seen a lot from Indiana State, especially from Tessa Leong and Katie Wells, 2 players working well together in this one. But the defense has been forcing it outside, and a lot of that is from the commanding of Drew Moulton. She's been splitting time in and out of the net this year, but she got the start today and commanding her defense, and they're doing a good job funneling things to the outside, not letting anyone go to the middle. That was the first time that we've really seen a cross into the box and actually make it in towards the net.
Now Valparaiso with an opportunity to push this ball forward. Looking for the cross themselves. And that one going to be batted out. So that will bring out the second corner kick of the day for Valparaiso.
They're going to bring up defender Natalia Contoul to take this one, and it's a fairly nice cross, but there was some contact, and they're going to whistle that play dead and call a foul against Valparaiso. Looks like that one was on Corey Griffith, a junior from Lamont, Illinois, went to Providence Catholic, and a few players being thrown to the ground, but I believe that was Griffith being whistled for it. Griffith has been leading this team in almost every offensive category all year round. Looking at her stats, she's leading the Missouri Valley Conference in shots this year with 58.
Has a team high 7 goals this year. And has had 3 goals in just the last 5 games. Wells now looking to push this ball forward, taken away.
When we spoke to Maravich about one of his junior stars, Griffith and Griffin, both juniors, but talking about Corey Griffith, he was saying that she's continued to develop as a person, but also as a leader. And that's something that's important as you start to get towards your junior and senior years, developing those leadership characteristics that really define your team as a whole, because it's not just your coach that's going to be leading the team. You got to have those upperclassmen that are willing to take control in all types of situations. And very selfless player. She changed to a little bit of more of a midfielder role, kind of plays behind Sydney Griffin. And she's been doing an excellent job. Griffith and Griffin are a very solid duo for the Crusaders.
A powerful duo in the front line for Valparaiso. Riley Teal's going to bring this ball back up for the throw-in. And another battle for it at midfield. Nobody able to bring this ball down. So Daniel Varner going to throw in the freshman for Indiana State.
And one of a few freshmen that gets quite a bit of playing time, coming all the way over from Nevada. And there you see the California throw in, a little bit of a front handspring, and absolutely vaults that one into the box. That was a monster throw-in.
And now a shot going just over the crossbar and towards the far side. And Garrett Varner's one of those players that head coach Julie Hanley's really liked throughout this season. She says that she's really grown into her position and has really started to understand her role defensively. Wants her to be more creative maybe on the attacking end, though.
And that's something that this Indiana State team needed, was players to step up, become creative, take chances in the offensive third, because that's where Hanley wants them to do, wants them to take chances. It's only in that offensive third. Don't want to risk it farther back for a defensive-minded team, but Varner, just a freshman, but she stands at 5'8", gets more creative, gets more ambitious when it comes to going up for those headers. She's going to be an offensive weapon, already proving that sometimes this year. We've seen her 2 goals at Chicago State in a win for Indiana State.
Crusaders going to come away with this one, and as they try to move it forward, Indiana State with another takeaway.
Taking a look at scoring chances, Valparaiso really hasn't had anything solid outside of those corner kicks that they had, but weren't able to do anything with. Indiana State has had a few opportunities, almost getting some solid shots on goal inside the 6, but right now still scoreless.
And we've talked about the back line for Valparaiso, but Indiana State, a very defensive-minded team, they have a strong back line as well. They've been established the same 4 in the back line for the entire season.
And it starts with the 2 in the middle. And for people that follow Indiana State women's soccer, you know the names Katie Sullivan and Casey Wallace. 2 players, very physical, dominate the inside, aren't going to let anyone push them around. As we see Sullivan getting physical there, knocking a player down. But these 2 are very consistent. They play well together. They communicate. And Sullivan and Wallace, 2 very close players on a very close team. They're friends and they work well together in that back line.
And here comes the free kick. Riscosa able to scoop that one up. Indiana State now looking to push the ball through the middle. Tessa Leon going to send over a shot and it gets blocked.
Nice defense from Valparaiso there, doing exactly what you needed to. And there you see Sydney Gauntunis getting in the way of that shot, but I want to focus on the pass that set up that shot. Tessa Leong, excellent run, but Caitlin Eddy just sends an excellent pass over there into the corner.
And there was more fancy footwork to try to get past one defender, not able to control it afterwards.
Just maybe a little bit behind her, but Tessa Leong was gearing up to kick that one with her left foot, but didn't really have much of an angle, and the defender helped out her goalie and didn't even really get to the net. Not much of a scoring threat after that block.
Indiana State going to try to get something going on the left side and now taken away. Valparaiso maybe with an opportunity coming, and that pass just off the front foot.
Looked like they had something going. Junior Sydney Griffin about to make a move there in the corner, but misjudged the ball, and it kept rolling past, and Indiana State will take over.
And that's where Sydney Griffin becomes such a threat. She's got that strong leg to be able to get a strong cross or even take that shot on goal.
In this season, the transfer from New Hampshire, 6 goals and 5 assists, tied for the lead on the team with 17 points. Those goals coming off of some good opportunities, but this Valparaiso team doesn't have to wait for those opportunities. They seek them out. They throw everything that they can at net and see what happens, because you just look at the shots for the Missouri Valley Conference statistical leaders, and Corey Griffith, and there you see Sydney Griffin, number 2, combining for 110 shots.
It's a crazy statistic, the way those two can work together, and just so powerful in that front line.
Some big separation. Looking at the statistics for Valparaiso, both Griffith and Griffin up in the 50s in shots, and the next closest is about the 20 range. Corey Griffith doing an excellent job on offense, as always, for this Valparaiso team. Has 58 shots on goal. 58 shots, and Griffith 17 points this year. Was second on the team last season for Valparaiso in goals.
For her career, Griffith has 17 goals and 40 career points. Valparaiso with the throw-in at midfield. Some more physical play. Valparaiso trying to send it over. And now we'll have a foul called.
A lot of physicality in that one. Griffin going hard, trying to extend the leg and see if she can keep the dribble alive, but Indiana State's defense not allowing that.
Trying to send this into the offensive third. It will be headed back out. And now we're starting to see some pressure from Indiana State's defense. And another foul.
A lot of grit shown in this game so far. Both teams pushing and shoving, trying to get into that MVC tournament.
Now inside the box for Valparaiso, headed up, and Riscosa comes through with the save.
Nice job by Riscosa going up, and it looked like Sydney Griffin was going to have an opportunity to head that one, but that's what hands will do. Riscosa going up, protecting herself with her knee and snatching that one out of the air and stopping the scoring threat.
No one really able to get good control of the ball here. Valparaiso going to come away with it in midfield. Pushing up on the left side, and that pass too far.
Chase, before the game, it did rain just a little bit, maybe about 5-10 minutes. But right now, I believe the field should probably be dry right now. 71 degrees in Terre Haute, Indiana. More chances for rain later. We'll see what will happen, but I think we might just get out of the rest of this game without any more rain.
We do have some overcast right now, but without that, you can't really complain about the temperature today. It's been a great day to play some soccer. Valparaiso trying to get into the box, and now they do. Indiana State's defense coming in. Here comes the cross. And just off the corner of the post.
That one more towards the net. Not a great cross, but almost found an opportunity for a deflection because it hit the post. But I want to focus on the play from Griffith. Excellent job dropping it back, knowing she had 2 players on her back, and instead sends it out and allows her teammate to try and cross it in, because with 2 players draped all over her back, she wasn't going to do anything with it. Smart play by the junior.
And now a takeaway for Valparaiso and a push, a deep shot, and easily scooped up by Riscosa.
Smart idea from Griffin, and I believe the field is dry after watching that one. The ball didn't skip, it mainly just bounced, and if the field was wet or if it was still raining, that would have been a very hard shot to stop for Riscosa, but instead able to scoop it up and send the ball the other way.
Valparaiso throwing from their own defensive third. Looking for the switch, and now they will. Indiana State now with the ball, trying to get it over towards Denton and take it away. Nowhere to go there as that one's sent out. And you see Sydney Griffin second in the Missouri Valley Conference in shots.
Valparaiso has had a lot of success on the far side of the field, moving the ball very well in these recent few minutes, and it looks like Valparaiso could have another scoring opportunity here as they get another corner kick.
Already their third corner kick in this game. Now this set piece for the Crusaders has a lot of their players inside the box towards the net. Sending it in, and Denton able to send it back out. Valparaiso maybe with another opportunity here. That one goes out.
Indiana State just couldn't seem to clear that one out completely, but Denton able to get it out enough, and Indiana State will have a throw-in.
Indiana State now has some movement, trying to go up the middle.
Good idea there from Sydney Hamker, trying to send Tessa Leong, but just a little too much on that one. Maybe a little bit more angle down the close sideline, and Leong might have had an opportunity to win that foot race.
And Wells not able to get to that ball in time, but if that pass would have been a little bit more towards her, she would have had a run there on the far side.
And you got to credit the defense there for Valparaiso coming over and stopping that, what could have been a scoring chance. No opportunity for Wells to chase that one down. Good read from Valparaiso.
And now a quick throw in, trying to go over towards Wells. She sends in the cross. Valparaiso able to head it out. And a deep shot, just trying to get that ball back in, way over the post.
You got to lean over that one just a little bit more. That looked more like a field goal attempt there. But Danielle Varner, good idea. The ball's there. You have an opportunity for a volley, which doesn't happen too often with no one around, and tries to smoke one, but just got two under it.
Valparaiso looks to set back. Indiana State's defense with the pressure. And just has to kick that one out, so Indiana State will have a throw-in just outside of their offensive third. Trying to move forward quickly. Rolls back out, so Indiana State now in their offensive third for the throw-in.
This is Varner again, who will do the flip before the throw-in, and this is an opportunity. It's almost like a corner kick, Chase, because if she can get this far and deep in enough, this is an opportunity where you can volley or header one in.
Sends it high. Valparaiso able to send it right back out. And tripped up. Valparaiso trying to push it up on their left side. And that will be just too far ahead. Here are a couple substitutions coming in for Valparaiso. Jordan Tyndall going to be one of them, checking in, the 5'9" midfielder. There we go.
midfield, perhaps one of the most important parts of this game. You put a lot of players in there that have the ability to see the field and put the ball anywhere that forwards are moving. You can drop it back to the defense. They're some of the best passers, and that's one reason why Caitlin Eddy is such a significant part of this offense and defense, I guess, as you see her at the bottom part of your screen. Number 19, she's a very good passer, a transfer from Arkansas Little Rock. Julie Hanley was very happy and excited to get her after losing one of the best stars Indiana State has had recently in Maddie Orff to graduation.
And Garrett, how important are these midfielders, especially in a matchup like this where Indiana State, you know they're trying to push the ball as much as they can. Valparaiso's got a couple of good shooters, but they both have great back lines.
It's about controlling possession at that point. And when we talked to Maravich, he talked about the importance of possession for his team, especially moving from the Horizon League to the MVC, which he said there was an elevated talent level and that everyone had to step up. They had to improve their games. They had to improve their touches. They had to improve the pace of the game because what it comes down to is all of possession, and that's, for a large part, ruled by who has the better midfielders.
So Indiana State now with the free kick. It'll sit right at the 20-yard line on the football field. Sending one in. It gets headed up and just outside of the far post.
And there you see the height of Danielle Varner going into play. She heads that one, just misses the post. But as a 5'8 freshman, if she can just get her head on the ball, find a nose for the ball and get to wherever it is when it's in the air, she's going to be a very, very nice asset for Hanley going forward.
Indiana State already with 6 shots on the day. Crusaders going to boot this one in towards their offensive third. And Indiana State's defense, their backline with the answer once again. This is a backline that Julie Hanley spoke very highly of, said she would take this backline over anyone's in the conference.
And you have to credit that a lot to Casey Wallace because that's one of the defenders and one of the players on this team that Hanley just raves about. Loves her work ethic, loves the fact that she's never going to back down from a fight, always willing to run through a wall for her team, and she's shown that time and time again, always the first one to the ball when it's out of the air, and that's something that you need out of your middle backs.
Indiana State unable to push that into their offensive third.
And found a passing lane there, but just put way too much on it. And that's a situation where you're probably going to have to go over the top so it hits the ground and kind of just sits. More of a chip pass instead of trying to shoot one through because especially playing on turf, the ball's going to move so quickly that if you can play it on the ground, it's got to be very, very soft.
And there a hard takedown as Indiana State trying to push it forward. That's Stefan who hit the ground.
Surprise, surprise, Chase. Stefan always seems to be around the contact, never going to shy away from it. And a very physical player for Hanley who has a bit of a soft spot for Stefan. That was her first recruit to bring into Indiana State. And Stefan, just a freshman, gets a lot of playing time.
Trying to chip this over the back line, taken away. Valparaiso with a clear, trying to still work with it. Now Indiana State with the ball.
Good hustle by Tessa Leong to send that one over to Denton, keeping this offensive pressure alive. Got to put that ball in the air. You can't let Indiana State stop that clear.
And we're seeing the physicality once again. Now throwing for Valparaiso, and they will push. Sent over towards the far side. Crusaders looking for the cross. And nothing but Indiana State's defense there. And now a shot through the uprights.
And on that defensive possession for Indiana State, Casey Wallace was ready to clear that one away as Pam Silius checks in. But I believe that was Danielle Varner just trying to kick it away, and not as much of a clear for Indiana State as they wanted, but still got to like the result if you're a Sycamore fan, because that could have been an easy goal if Sydney Griffin would have been able to get a shot off there.
Would have been dangerous, too, with how much time is left on the clock just before halftime. Indiana State, a team who has struggled when they go down a goal.
Right now, their offense hasn't been clicking as much as they were last game, not getting as many shots off. But today, defense holding strong and playing steady.
Wells with nowhere to go, sent out. Wells unable to get that churn. Valparaiso going to try to get something going here on the left side.
They've had a lot of luck over there on that far side. Their offense moving the ball and finding space, and a lot of that goes to the credit of Corey Griffith.
Trying to get around that back line. Indiana State's defense with another answer. Unable to clear, though.
No one went up for that ball, and I'm scratching my head a little bit because you have to win that ball out of the air when it's in your own defensive third and deep in your own defensive third, but everyone looking at each other expecting the other one to get it.
So a little miscommunication here late in the first half.
Been a few minor miscues for Indiana State that could have led to a goal for the Crusaders, but Valparaiso unable to capitalize so far. We'll see if Indiana State continues to make these little mistakes and if eventually it'll cost them.
Teal going to send that one out as well. So here's the throw in Valparaiso's offensive third going into the box.
And I believe, Chase, that the flag kept that one from going out. Good hustle by Sydney Griffin to keep it in, and doesn't quite get a reward, but Indiana State going to have to throw this one in on deep in their own territory.
See, Stephan came through trying to shield that ball and did hit the flag post. Valparaiso staying on that left side. Not many options as Riley Teal with the takeaway. Now another opportunity. And sent out.
Valparaiso starting to push more players up, just 3 in the back line right now, looking to see if they can make something happen with just under 6 minutes left to play in this first half. I like the ambition here from the Crusaders, starting to put numbers up. You have 2 players right outside the 18 just in case the ball gets semi-cleared out.
Indiana State almost had a takeaway, now deep into their defensive third. Valparaiso with another opportunity taken away. And now switching sides, trying to get work on the right side. There's that turn and pass. And Indiana State coming away with another answer.
Valparaiso has been controlling the ball for the last 5 minutes, doing so thanks to their passing. Indiana State trying to clear it, haven't quite gotten a big enough clear to put it into Valparaiso's own end, but right now this Valparaiso team clicking on all cylinders when it comes to moving the ball around and able to pin Indiana State deep.
So when this game first started, we saw a lot of it being played in Indiana State's offensive third. we saw a couple opportunities coming from Valparaiso, but now it seems like it's switched momentum and Valparaiso really taking advantage in their offensive third.
And I think the problem is for Indiana State, they can't settle right now. They have to be willing to push the ball forward. They can't just say, this is fine, we'll get through this, our defense isn't breaking, because eventually it is going to.
And nowhere to go there as that one's sent out. We'll set Indiana State up with another goal kick.
An opportunity for the Sycamores to finally get the ball out of their own territory and see if they can make something happen with 4 minutes left to play.
They'll keep it on the ground over towards Teal. Pressure coming. She looks to move it forward. And head it out, so the ball will stay in Valparaiso's offensive third.
Right now, the Sycamores, I know spacing is a big thing. In all sports, soccer, definitely it's a big thing. You don't want to overcrowd an area. But right now, they're just not checking two. Check two, check away. Player movement is very important. I know it's a big field, so you have to be dynamic. You can't be static. Move around, come to your teammates, give them an option, someone to pass to. And they're just trying to move the ball too far away from them. Sometimes you got to hit a middleman so that player can pass it along and maybe switch fields. Eventually you're going to have somewhat of a long pass, but for now, Indiana State not doing a good job connecting the little ones.
Crusaders able to set back and now switch the field. Under 3 left to go in this first half. And we've seen often that Indiana State electing to have somebody else besides Riscosa kick these balls.
Ordinarily, goalkeeper's usually the one taking the goal kicks, but instead it'll be Casey Wallace today. And Wallace threading the needle with that pass.
Indiana State going to remain with possession, now trying to push it. See if Wells can chase it down, and she will be unable to.
A lot of long passes here for Indiana State, going for it all as we near the end of this first half. Wells, one of the faster and better conditioned players on this team, but still can't run that one down.
And if she does get it, she's very dangerous in that position. We've seen her footwork on display already here today.
And one thing that I'm always wondering about the way she plays is she does an excellent job keeping players on her back, almost boxing them out like if you're going for a rebound in basketball. And it's the reason I think it's crazy is because she's listed at 5'5". I don't even think she's that tall. And she's always able to keep defenders on her back, look up, and then distribute the ball somewhere else. Sometimes she's even able to turn and then get by the defender. But for a player that's on the shorter end on the field, she does a great job using her body to her advantage.
And in that type of situation, Hanley, one of the things that she wanted Wells to work on was, you talked about it, she gets that turn and then is able to distribute the ball. Be more aggressive. Turn and shoot off of something like that, especially when you're in a position just inside the box.
A fantastic passer, Katie Wells, sees the game very well from Warren Central High School in Indianapolis, a junior this year. Last year, 2016, first team All-Missouri Valley Conference. Also was a scholar athlete and also Offensive Player of the week of October 4th last year. So came into this year with high hopes to repeat as a first team All-Conference. And with the way she's playing, she just might do that.
Nowhere to go, trying to move that ball forward. Now only 10 seconds left to go here in the first half. Looks like we will just have a battle here at midfield to end the half. So we will go into the locker rooms tied at 0 apiece between Indiana State and Valparaiso.
Buy one, get one wings are the best.
And I love the taste of free.
To me, it tastes like my garlic Parmesan wings.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm just eating the free one. No harm.
Boneless wings are now buy one, get one free Thursdays, 5 p.m. to close. This is how you Sonic.
Your wait is over. It's time for the Sullivan Auto Group kickoff season sale. Now shop over 150 Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram trucks. Now you can save over $10,000 from MSRP, and you can't pass up a low, low price like a Ram SLT 4x4 starting at $25,995 and a Jeep Patriot for only $14,995. Now ask about 0% financing for 75 months, and you've got a game plan that's a sure winner. $10,000 savings and 0% is a game-winning deal for Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram at the Sullivan Auto Group kickoff season sale.
Buy one, get one wings are the best.
And I love the taste of free.
To me, it tastes like my garlic Parmesan wings.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm just eating the free one. No harm.
Boneless wings are now buy one, get one free Thursdays, 5 p.m. to close. This is how you Sonic.
Welcome back. We are tied here at halftime between Valparaiso and Indiana State here at Memorial Stadium, and both these teams coming out of the Missouri Valley Conference. So we'll take a look at what's going on around the conference with news and notes.
And right now, a team that's been pretty hot as of late, Loyola, leads the nation in total goals with 59, rank in the top 10 in 4 other team categories. And the thing that jumps out to me about this is the fact that it's coming from everyone. It's not just one player, and that's why Loyola looks like they have solidified a spot as we're heading towards the postseason.
Right now ranked second in conference with 9 points, looking for the first place there in conference play. And another team that's been able to step it up recently has been Illinois State.
That's in big part thanks to Michaela Unger. 4 goals this season, 2 assists. That's good for 10 points. A very efficient player on the field. Had 3 of ISU's 6 goals last week, so a lot of that offensive presence coming in this last week. 4 goals and 2 assists this season. Like I said, she's a player that the Redbirds are going to want to look to get the ball to as much as possible.
So she'll be your Missouri Valley Conference Offensive Player of the Week last week. And taking a look at the other side of the ball, Drake coming away with the Defensive Player of the Week.
And Drake's a team that year in and year out, right now sitting at 11-3-2, always have good talent. And a part of that is because they have a solid defense. Every single year it seems like they're at the top statistic-wise of preventing goals. And it's why you have players like Smith who are able to do that. Strong front line, but also a strong defense leads to success. And that's why right now they're sitting in first place.
And, of course, we are towards the end of Missouri Valley Conference play as we take another look at the conference standings.
Valparaiso and Indiana State battling it out on the field during this one, looking to see who will get into the conference tournament.
And that's what's so important is that this one is for the battle for that last place into the tournament. Obviously, Evansville in there in this battle as well, but right now it's between Valparaiso and Indiana State, which makes this matchup such a great one between these two teams, tied at 0 apiece here at halftime.
DirecTV has been rated number 1 in customer satisfaction over cable for 17 years running. But some people still like cable, just like some people like pushing a boulder up a hill forever. Switch to number 1 rated customer satisfaction over cable. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
tied at 0 apiece at halftime between Indiana State and Valparaiso. And you'll see why we're tied as you take a look at the stats right now. Very similar.
Valparaiso has the 4 shots on goal, but that's really the only glaring difference between these two teams. And a lot of those shots on goal and some of their scoring opportunities have come off the corner kicks. But right now, Indiana State got into a little bit of a funk later on in that first half. And I know they have the same amount of shots, but they just need to get some on goal right now. Valparaiso's defense, I know there's not really defensive statistics up on that screen, but both defenses playing solid, and Valparaiso's playing excellent in this one.
Yeah, you really saw Indiana State come out kind of hot. They were doing a lot of work in their offensive third. That's where you saw the majority of their shots come from. And then in the later part of the first half, that's when you saw Valparaiso start to regain control of this game, be able to push it into their offensive third, and that's where you saw a lot of their shots on goal coming from.
Oh, a lot of contact in this one, especially from Valparaiso. We were looking at the fouls earlier, and both these teams playing very physical to try and stymie the offenses.
It's been a tough battle overall, and you can't say we didn't expect that coming into this one. We knew Indiana State, very scrappy team, especially as of recently. We've seen them fight back and forth with a lot of teams. So keeping this going, and maybe one of the changes that they've made, especially here in the later part of their schedule, is trying to push that ball, get more of an offensive production, and maybe that comes around with being more physical.
Yeah, this team starting to amp up the energy as of late, and doing so, getting more scoring opportunities. Not much in this one, but Valparaiso and Indiana State both trying to push themselves into the conference tournament, so that's why it was going to be a physical match.
So still tied at halftime, 0 apiece between Valparaiso and Indiana State. A close one here at Memorial Stadium between Valparaiso and Indiana State, but a lot on the line as we take another look at the conference standings and see how both these teams are going to try to fight to get that last tournament spot.
Right now, Indiana, a little bit of an underdog coming into this one, lower in the standings, just behind Valparaiso, but that doesn't mean anything. They were in this position last year and were able to push their way all the way up into the conference tournament and then eventually beat Drake. But this team right now, I know it's a different team, they have an uphill battle because they have to win out. They have no choice but to win the rest of their games. But you could still say the same about Valparaiso, sitting at 2-3 above that line. If conference tournaments started right now, they would be in, but they can't afford a loss.
They absolutely cannot. And more Missouri Valley Conference action going on today. Drake and Illinois State are going to start at 2 o'clock. So right about now, they should be starting. And then you look at Evansville. They're last in conference. But Valparaiso is going to play Evansville next week. So if Valparaiso beats Indiana State today, they're probably more than likely locked into the tournament. If Indiana State gets that win and Indiana State wins out and Valparaiso loses to Evansville, there'd be a three-way tie for that last spot.
That would be a very interesting situation because Indiana State lost to Evansville, dropped them to 1-4. If they would have won that game, they would be tied with Valparaiso right now. So a lot of weird situations going on that would push them into a three-way tie.
So we'll see what happens. Second half action coming up next here on the Valley on ESPN3. We're getting ready for the second half between Valparaiso and Indiana State. Both these teams looking to post their first goal of the game.
Offense has been few and far between, Chase. Not much going for either team. Indiana State still without a shot on goal. Had an opportunity early on in this game, but Moulton in the goal, able to almost lay down on top of the ball, and her defense helped her out. So Indiana State looking to see if they can get something going, while Valparaiso looks to continue dominating the game like they were later on in the first half.
And Indiana State looked like they were going to have some opportunities throughout this one. Starting this match with a lot of pressure, pushing the ball forward, and then momentum really switched going in favor of Valparaiso.
And you have to credit that a lot to the top line for Valparaiso. The Crusaders offense, Corey Griffin, Sydney Griffin, doing a lot of good work up top, passing the ball, and also dropping it back to the midfielders. They're doing a good job keeping Indiana State pinned on their own defensive third, and that's why right now Valparaiso has been controlling the majority of this game.
You mentioned Griffith and Griffin, two players in that front line for Valparaiso they're the shot takers on this team. They're the ones who Valparaiso is going to try to get the ball to here in the second half. Indiana State's backline is going to have to play as strong as they have throughout this entire season.
Indiana State looking to see if they can keep Corey Griffith and Sidney Griffin caged. Griffith has 7 goals and 3 assists, and Griffin has 6 goals and 5 assists. Both tied at 17 points apiece, and I wonder if they have a little competition between them, but I'm sure they would be happy with whoever scores if the Crusaders were able to net one in this half.
Right now, trying to secure a spot in the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament. Indiana State would have to win out to do so. So a quick takeaway. Valparaiso trying to push the ball forward. Trying to get things done on the right side. And Jordan Dang comes through with the defense.
It's going to be another corner kick here for Valparaiso. Indiana State still hasn't notched one, but this is going to be the 4th for Valparaiso. They're looking to see if they can change the outcome. Haven't been able to score on any of the previous 3. Natalia Contoul comes up to take the corner kick all the way from the defense.
Sends it in, and Indiana State sends it out. Still inside the box. Here comes the cross. And deflected away.
Talk about putting your body on the line. Tessa Leong jumping in front of the volley. Some solid contact on that ball to send it towards the net, but Leong stepping in the way.
So that sets up another corner kick for Valparaiso. That one with a great opportunity. And Indiana State comes through off the deflection and sends it out.
And again, Indiana State putting their body on the line to get in front of that one.
And a deep shot, just maybe trying to send that ball in. Maybe now it looks like we have a foul called.
I believe they're going to just call that advantage as the ref is acknowledging the fact that Wallace was pushed to the ground, but since Riscosa already had it, they'll just let the team play on.
Indiana State going to have to set back. Now the ball taken away. Crusaders defense really starting to pick up.
A lot of pressure up top from this front unit, not letting Indiana State have an inch to breathe.
Wells looking to bring that ball down. She loses control of it. And unable to keep that ball in. So we will change possession to Indiana State.
It's a good pass there, leading number 28, Natalia Contoul, the redshirt sophomore from Solon, Ohio. At 5'4", she was streaking down the line and looking to see if she could get something going there.
Indiana State will send this out towards midfield. Throwing here for the Crusaders. Valparaiso going to try to switch sides. And that's where you see midfield play become so important. Now an opportunity for Indiana State. Leon going in towards the box and sent back out.
Nice two-player game there between Wells and Leong. Somehow Wells able to send that pass over to Leong. I believe it bounced off the foot of the defender, and Leong almost able to capitalize, but some good recovery there from Valparaiso. Grace Rogers, a senior defender from Woodbury, Minnesota, coming back to challenge Leong. It looked like she was going to have an easy up-close shot.
So the first corner kick of the day coming for Indiana State. And you see the wind blowing. We'll see if that might affect this as the cross comes in. And over everyone as that goes to the other side of the field.
Just a little bit too much on that one. Maybe had the idea of going back post. It was a good idea. Had number 17, Cassie Simonis, back on the far side open, but still sailing over her leg.
And Gary, we can see the wind blowing a little bit off of that corner kick. The wind definitely has picked up throughout this match. How does that affect maybe your passing or your shooting?
Well, it depends which direction you're going. If you're going with the wind, makes for a little bit of an easier time to send the ball over top because you don't have to put as much muscle on it. Now, you still have to account for the wind, but if you're going against it, you're going to have to play the ball on the ground, especially if the wind is going really, really hard, because if you send it in the air, it's just going to stall and drop. So you just have to account for those things.
And that one goes off the football's field goal post. Shot too high once again for Indiana State.
Now, it's been a problem for this team. A few players having issues finding the net from farther out, but that one pretty up close, but leaning back instead of over the ball, and Simonis sends that one a few feet high. That was a good opportunity. I know didn't have much of an angle on the net, but still, you got to put it on goal.
Ball now at midfield. Gonna be sent out. Valparaiso able to advance the ball a little bit towards their offensive third.
Good step from Sidney Hamker, reading where that throw-in was going to, and just putting a lot of pressure right now on the midfielders.
So that will roll harmlessly out of bounds. Sets up Indiana State for another goal kick.
We saw off that goal kick, Casey Wallace squared the ball up pretty well and was able to send it away, but the ball didn't go quite as far, probably knocked 5 or 10 yards at least off that goal kick. Wind coming into play.
Now some footwork to get around the defender, sending it in towards the box. Riley Teal with possession and sends it forward. And now a takeaway for Indiana State, but maybe advancing the ball just too far forward. Another strong battle here at midfield. Valparaiso had some pretty good spacing, but Indiana State's defense put enough pressure where they weren't able to connect those passes.
Their midfielders starting to amp up the pressure in the middle of the field. Taking a look at Sidney Hamker, Caitlin Eddy, and Tessa Leong to name a few of those players. Really starting to pressure everywhere the ball goes.
Indiana State will just shield to let that ball go out.
Smart move there from Sullivan just to shield that one away, and Indiana State will reset with a goal kick. And just 10 minutes into this second half, about Chase, we haven't really seen either team take a commanding advantage on the field right now.
We've seen a big battle at midfield. Nobody really able to advance it into their offensive third, and when they do, something like that happens where the defense comes through with an answer.
And that was a lot of contact, but no call is made. Tessa Leong brushing it off and getting back in the game. No complaining from her, but a lot of contact. But you got to commend the defense there for Valparaiso. Again, Contoul, who's having a great game, using a little bit of contact and some speed to recover.
And here's where you see that battle at midfield. Indiana State's defense was starting to push back, and as soon as they got closer offensive third, the Sycamores defense came through. Crusaders maybe now with an opportunity trying to go in towards the box. Teal comes through.
Nice job from Teal. Saw that the dribble was a little, risky pass there.
Very risky. If Valparaiso would have had a player push forward, an opportunity for another shot.
What I was saying was Teal realized that the dribble was just a little too far and left her assignment, who was on the sideline. Maris was open, but instead knew that she was going to be able to get to the ball first, took the risk, and it paid off.
This one just shy of midfield. Valparaiso sends it out, looking to push the ball forward there on that far side. Crusaders wanting the setback. And physical play continues.
And that was an easy call. Simonis just trucking over the Crusader. And a lot of contact here. We haven't seen as much pushing and shoving right now in the second half as we saw in the first, but Simonis getting into it there with someone from Valparaiso.
In towards the box and just past that far post.
And that was almost a perfect chip shot from 40-plus yards out. And from midfield, that was a booming kick, but just a little too much on that.
Maybe another situation where the wind able to carry that ball a little bit farther than what Valparaiso wanted to. Tessa Leon now with the ball looking to push. And here's that through pass.
And they've got Katie Wells open.
Leon now with the ball and an opportunity. Can't get a good shot off.
And a few Indiana State players open there, and Simonis decides to go to Leon. Takes one dribble, but again, met with some contact. This defense from the Crusaders is flying all over the place. And right now, Moulton isn't even facing many shots. That ball's rolled very slowly to her. Her defense getting a lot of contact with the shots, and if they even reach Moulton at all, it's at a very slow pace.
Does that maybe take away from Moulton trying to stay sharp throughout this match?
I don't believe so. I think that it just makes her more confident in her defense. And when you're confident in your defense, you're going to be confident in your entire team and in yourself. Now, barring a misdirection or deflection off of one of her defenders, I say that's always something good when you have your defenders get a piece of it or lay down in front of a shot. We've seen that. Valparaiso doing that earlier on. Indiana State getting in front of some shots right now earlier on in this second half.
Sycamore's going to push outside towards Katie Wells. She'll send the cross through. Valparaiso now with the ball. Wells with the takeaway. And Crusaders able to send it out.
Katie Wells and Tessa Leong are almost single-handedly creating these scoring chances for Indiana State. Moving the ball very well. Some nifty dribbling moves from each of these two players in the second half. And that's, I think, a large part in why Indiana State has had a few times where they've almost been able to get the ball inside the 6 after halftime.
Valparaiso going to try to set back. Dangerous keeping that ball up in the air. Now looking to push on the far side. Through one defender and another. And just outside of the post.
And you got to capitalize on that opportunity. You don't get any closer than that with no one in front of you. Tahila Noel missed out on an awesome opportunity there after some great dribbling. Was able to get to where she wanted to on the field, but wasn't able to capitalize and get the outcome she wanted. But you still got to just marvel at the dribbling that she just did. Absolutely bobbing and weaving past two defenders, one of which Jordan Denton. Indiana State's defense looking to see if they can prevent that from happening again.
You thought for a second she was searching for that cross, but took it past one defender, then another, had an opportunity for that shot, and you have to take it.
And taking shots on certain opportunities is always a gray line. because you never know when you should pull the trigger or when you should see if you could wait a little bit more and get closer. That time it paid off. Noel looked like she was going to have a really good opportunity, but if she crosses that in, maybe they don't get as close. But at the same time, if you keep pushing forward and try and get it deeper into the box, maybe you turn the ball over and you don't have any opportunity at all.
And when you're that far inside the box, about in the middle of the box, you find that opportunity where you have that ability to turn and shoot. You kind of have to just take that opportunity to... Right now it's a tied game, 0-0. Nobody's really had a great offensive opportunity. It just takes one.
And that was about as good of an opportunity as you're going to have. I know she was moving and had to randomly turn and kick with her left foot. I don't even think she realized how open she was, but Indiana State looking to see if they can make something happen.
A good pass and a good cross. Mullen able to come through and get that ball before Indiana State had an opportunity.
And Wells almost led Alina Steffen perfectly, but Steffen couldn't quite get there before Moulton was able to snatch it up. Chase, I think both of these offenses are starting to click more. Connecting passes, Indiana State got into a little bit of a funk earlier on in this game. Weren't able to connect a lot of passes, which is obviously the sole part of soccer because it's possession. But these defenses are starting to feel a little bit more pressure.
And especially here, getting to the later parts of the game, knowing that there's so much on the line for this matchup alone.
And right now, it could just be one goal, one small scoring opportunity that sends one of these teams packing and one team into the postseason.
The defense coming through for Indiana State, but with the foul.
Casey Wallace, we've talked about it a little bit, a very physical player and just running over Noel there.
So maybe a big opportunity for Valparaiso. You see fouls, Indiana State leading 8-7. A very physical matchup so far today.
Tahila Noel able to capitalize and draw the contact on that last one.
And off the free kick, Indiana State able to send it back out. Now back into the box, and Riscosa able to scoop it up. She'll send that one shy of midfield, now past. Valparaiso will let it go out. And not a very good touch from Valparaiso. It sends that ball out. Griffin was looking to try to redeem herself.
She put a lot of pressure on Hamker there, but that ball did go out on Griffin. Sloppy play right now, just in the last minute. Neither team able to get out away from where they are on the field.
And of course, it comes right after. It looked like both offenses were able to get things clicking as far as passing goes, and now we're starting to see some sloppy play, but it's being played here at midfield.
Sometimes chaos is good. Not in the midfield. It doesn't really do anything, doesn't result in anything. But when you cause chaos in your own offensive end, it's good. We saw that a few minutes ago. Valparaiso was almost able to make something happen off of a free kick where the ball bounced away and right to one of their players. But when you have chaos in the midfield, it doesn't make for a very attractive game to watch.
And a lot of this has been played between the two defensive and offensive thirds. Indiana State trying to keep this ball outside of the box, and will send it out. So a throw in here for Valparaiso, deep into their offensive third. Wells comes through with the defense. And sent back out. So that will bring an Indiana State goal kick. Valparaiso not liking the call very much.
Noelle looking to see if she can dribble past a defender, and I thought it was out on her, but she disagreed with the referee there. And Chase, both of these teams seem pretty evenly matched right now.
They really do. We've seen a close matchup even on the stat sheet. Both these teams right now, Indiana State with 9 shots. Valparaiso has had a little bit of a run to be able to put up 11 shots recently. But throughout this entire match, things have just seemed similar.
Now, the only disparity looking at the stats is really shots on goal. Indiana State only with 1, Valparaiso with 5. But those 5 weren't excellent opportunities.
Into the box, headed, and that one's in the back of the net for Valparaiso's first goal of the day.
As soon as I was started talking about capitalizing, there it is, an excellent ball, and that is so hard to do, going vertically with it. Usually when crosses happen, they're from the side, but right there, able to just flick the ball enough that it goes right past Riscosa and into the back of the net.
That one coming from almost midfield. Good connection there from Valparaiso to put themselves on the board here first. Now Indiana State's offense might try to put on as much pressure as they can. Wells with good ball movement.
And that goal would be credited to Corey Griffith.
Mullen came through with the save, and Valparaiso's defense able to clear. Riley Teal's going to push the ball forward now into the box, but no one there.
Griffith now with sole possession on the leaderboard for, statistically speaking, when you look at Valparaiso, now with 19 points after that goal. The assist came from Grace Rogers, who took the free kick around midfield. It was an absolutely beautiful ball over the head of Indiana State's defense. Not too far, though, to where it got to Riscosa, exactly where it needed to be. And when I was talking about capitalizing, they did exactly that.
Valparaiso maybe with another opportunity coming up. Going to send that cross in, but off the mark.
Good idea there from Keegan Maris, a freshman from Batavia, Illinois. Couldn't get around the ball on that one. Her foot didn't hit that ball squarely. She actually fell to the turf, but had the right idea.
Griffith now with the ball, looking to try a turn and pass. She does. And as soon as that ball gets towards the box, Indiana State able to send it back out.
Steffen's got to be patient there. Around midfield, chest that one, bring it down to yourself, and then see what else you can do. Headers usually aren't going to be very accurate. Might as well take your time and see if you can play the ball at someone's feet.
We're going to bring the ball up on the right side. So we'll have an Indiana State throw in just outside of their offensive third.
Jensen Markheim in the game for Indiana State. And let that one go between her legs. And that would have actually been perfectly timed if it would have also bounced past Valparaiso. It looked like Markheim would have been first to the ball, but Valparaiso's defense still holding strong.
Looking to move this ball forward. These passes just off the mark. Valparaiso is going to be able to set back for just a second.
Chase, we were talking about earlier the relationship between Marovich and Hanley, and right now it looks like the teacher is winning over the student. Valparaiso with a 1-0 lead.
And you look at the all-time series history between Indiana State and Valparaiso. The Crusaders are going to lead that one 7-2-2.
Marovich looking to make that 8. He's been with the team a long time. Head coach right now, this is his 10th year with the Crusaders. He's coached a lot of teams, both collegiately and in the Olympic development program. And that's actually where he met head coach Julie Hanley. Coached her, helped her with the transition from defense to a keeper. And when we were speaking with Hanley about Marovich, because it's not very often that you get to coach against your former coach, and she was talking about the opportunity and said obviously she wants to win, but she also doesn't want to see Marovich fail because she says she has nothing bad to say about him. Thinks he was just a fantastic coach and also a fantastic guy. They kept in touch after she played for him, and she just wants to see him succeed. But, of course, not against her.
And you can see how much respect there is between those two as this ball comes in towards the box and headed. Moulton with the answer once again. But these two coaches, they have such a respect for each other, talk highly about each other, and it makes for a fun matchup, the fact that they finally get to coach against each other.
Puts a little bit more depth into the matchup. And when Marovich was talking about Hanley, he talked about her competitiveness and her personality being very fiery. She was always amped up, always aggressive, looking to get better. And that's what helped her and her mental toughness make the change from a field player back into the goalkeeper position.
Just outside of the box, Indiana State now with the ball. And a prime opportunity to put a shot up, and they do.
Alina Steffen with the fake, getting the pass from Caitlin Eddy, takes a dribble and sends one into the back of the net. Nothing Drew Moulton could do from that point-blank shot from Alina Steffen. And you see here, just barely able to get the pass through. Steffen takes it, fakes a touch, goes the other way, and right at about the penalty kick line, sends that one into the net.
So it took a while for both these offenses to get things going, but here late into the second half, both teams able to post a goal. We'll see how that changes each other's games plans. You knew Indiana State, after going down a goal, was going to try to put as much pressure on the offensive side as they could. Now that they've found the equalizer, we'll see what they elect to do.
Steffen, a freshman from Bettendorf, Iowa, getting the goal. That is going to be her third goal of the season.
And there comes the foul call.
Not only is it a foul, they're going to give her a yellow card. A lot of contact and just a little too much for the referee's taste. That's going to be Kelsey John, a junior from Oregon, Wisconsin.
Indiana State trying to send that one in towards the box. A lot of pressure from the defense. And Valparaiso is going to come away with it to be able to get the clear. Some good touches here from Valparaiso as they try to advance the ball into the box now. And that one just too far ahead.
Just a beautiful read. The exact pass you wanted to make, just a little too much on it. Now, if this was a grass field, maybe the grass was pretty long, that would have been the exact effort you would have wanted to put on that. But it doesn't lose pace at all. Actually, it almost looks like it got faster running away from the Crusader there, trying to chase it down. That would have been a great opportunity for Valparaiso, and all created by passing. And that's something that I think people should talk more about. People talk about goals, but a lot of times it's the passing that sets everything up and should really get the credit. Caitlin Eddy with the assist on the goal from Alina Steffen just a few moments ago. Her pass was just unbelievable.
You mentioned it earlier in this broadcast how much emphasis needs to be put on passing, especially out in midfield, being able to get that spacing and the good touches. But that's going to translate all the way over to the offensive third, and that's what's going to set up your shots.
Yeah, once you start getting into that groove and get some continuity going with those passes and are able to connect a few, it helps so much more when you're in the offensive end. So much more. And Caitlin Eddy able to pivot to her right, take a step, and gently really tap the ball with her, basically a toe. That's all it took, and set up Steffen perfectly for a goal.
Indiana State's going to elect to let that one roll out of the back. So goal kick here for Indiana State. Steffen going to bring it down. Indiana State's defense able to come away with it. Long passing here. Teal with a misdirection gets that ball moved forward.
This team's starting to settle into a groove very nicely right now, but it'll be stopped with an offsides call. Simonis didn't think she was offsides, but she'll be whistled, and that ends what could have been a very nice play.
The Sycamores had things rolling. Both these teams trying to find that answer here to get that second goal.
Katie Sidlowski into the game for the Sycamores. She was streaking after what looked like was a planned give and go on the near sideline. Her and Cassidy Simonis looked like they were going to connect for a play, but Simonis just a step too far.
Indiana State going to use their spacing.
Not exactly a fan of that pass. Caitlin Eddy had her defenders there to drop it back to. You could reverse the field with small passes and just linking a few together instead of trying to do it all at once. You don't have to force that in the situation. It's a tie game, about 14 minutes left to play. Take what the defense gives you and move the ball up methodically.
Valparaiso going to send that one towards the net. Riscosa able to come through.
That was a tough play there, but got some sticky gloves. Able to scoop that one up off the bounce. Definitely could have been a scoring opportunity if she wasn't able to secure that one. As right there, right next to her, just a step away, we saw Sydney Griffin ready to put one in the back of the net and give her team a 2-1 lead, but Riscosa wasn't having it.
And you mentioned how you didn't really like the pass you saw from Indiana State on that last possession. They've been in a little bit of a groove offensively, but a lot of things have been taken away because they're electing for these longer passes.
And you always have to be very choosy when it comes to those long passes, because if you're just doing them all the time, it almost looks like you're playing a game of kickball. And this is a game that's supposed to be methodical. It's supposed to be smooth. It's supposed to use every part of the field and every single teammate. But when you do those long passes, sometimes they can help. Can set up a long pass and a long run and an easy goal and a breakaway. But most of the time, it's just going to be a 50-50 ball. And with the defender right there, the Crusaders were able to capitalize and force the turnover.
So Jordan Denton the throw in for Indiana State. Battle for it in midfield. Indiana State going to come away with it.
Smart play there by Hamker to realize she had nowhere to go. The defender was coming and play it out to the side to Riley Teal. And that's what happens. You make the easy pass, nice and short. and then you get the ball back. Indiana State wasn't able to keep it going. Solid defense there from Valparaiso, but smart move by Hamker. Just continue to possess the ball. That's something that Maravich talked about, and it's something that every coach wants.
Especially in a situation like this where we're getting towards the end of the game in a tied ball game. You know, going out to the side or even setting back is not a bad option as long as your team can maintain that possession.
As long as you have the ball, most of the time, the other team isn't going to be scoring.
Sending it in towards the box. Valparaiso with another opportunity and just out of the reach.
And there you saw the ball rolling just a little too fast. Valparaiso couldn't seem to run that one down, but again, a solid play from Keegan Maris. Just a little bit too much, trying to trap it to her feet with her chest, and the thing just keeps rolling. Couldn't slow it down, had too much momentum. And I thought for a minute that Riscosa should have come off her line there. That ball was in the air for a long time. Could have had a good chance to come out and stop that before it even got into the box, at least deep into the box, but electing to stay on her line, and it pays off.
And we're going to see another foul here.
Hamker almost getting tackled to the ground. Griffith using her hands to stop number 7 Hamker, who had possession of the ball.
No opportunity there.
Way too much on that pass. Tessa Leong going for the home run, but sends that one towards the goalie instead.
So now under 10 minutes left to play. Both these teams are going to try to put on as much offensive pressure as they can.
Key is to not put too much, though. You don't want to leave your back line hanging.
And sending this one in towards the box, but outside.
Looks like that was off the outside of the foot, and that one goes way to the left of the goal. Griffin, a goal scorer, came into the season from New Hampshire, only had 2 goals in 2 seasons combined at New Hampshire, and has had quite the season and looks to have a very bright future playing for the Crusaders. And coming into this game, Griffin, 6 goals, 5 assists for 17 points.
And a good move there to be able to get past the defender at midfield. Pushing it forward now. Looking to go into the box, but nothing going.
And I was just talking about Sydney Griffin. Here's what John Maravich had to say about her, because transfer students are always kind of hard to collect and then mesh with the team. And he said she meshed instantly and is a great fit for their offense.
And you can tell she's a great fit, especially just how this team is going just throughout their season and how she's progressed as the season's gone along. So the throw-in sent out right away. Leon's going to set that over. And here comes the pressure from the defense. Valparaiso inside the box with a shot off the top of the crossbar.
And that was an excellent shot, just a laser towards the top right corner. Riscosa couldn't get to it, but the crossbar saves her.
Unable to keep that one in, but what a great opportunity for Valparaiso.
Defense out of position on that one. Katie Sullivan and Brianna Riscosa wasn't sure who or which one was going to clear it.
Sycamores will have to set back towards Riscosa.
And after that play, Riscoso came up limping a little bit. As you see, she's favoring one leg. Bet you she took a big sigh of relief after that ball bounced off the crossbar, saving this game potentially. Right now, with just 6 minutes left to go, there's only so many chances left in this one. And Riscosa barely got out of that one. Definitely could have put Valparaiso up 2-1 and could have potentially won them the game and also pushed them into the MVC tournament.
That was the second big opportunity here late for Valparaiso. Sycamore's trying to make an opportunity themselves. Leon tries to cross it in. And coming through is Moulton.
Good read by Moulton. Saw that one right off the foot of Tessa Leong and knew she was going to cross it. Quick first step, came up and grabbed it out of the air. No opportunity for Indiana State to do anything with that one.
No chance to move the ball forward for Valparaiso, so they send it out.
Steffen checking back into the game. Already has one goal in this one. Was the equalizer. She checks in for Cassidy Simonis.
So Valparaiso will have a throw-in now in their offensive third. Here in the corner, unable to turn. Bring the ball out towards the middle of the field.
Very good pass.
Now a shot coming through Indiana State's defense there, but another opportunity, and they're able to put that one in the back of the net to take the lead 2-1.
And Valparaiso taking the lead courtesy of a lot of good passing and the ball bouncing their way, coming straight to the feet, and the Crusaders are able to capitalize. See, they're just tapping that one in, and I believe, did Corey Griffith redirect that one in?
It would have been very close. I don't think she had to if she did, but still a very close call.
Riscosa, no chance on that one. Perfectly slotted shot on the very far side of the net. And now Indiana State, crunch time. 4.5 minutes left to play in this one, and they have to hurry.
Wells going to try to move that ball over. Can't.
Right now, Chase, Indiana State playing 4 minutes for their entire season. It is win or you don't make the Missouri Valley Conference tournament.
They brought the pressure up on offense. Now the back line trying to rush back. There's a through ball with the connection made. Looking for the cross or the shot. It's deflected. And Indiana State able to get the clear. Ball set back towards the back line for Indiana State. Sycamore's trying to move the ball forward, now getting around. Sends in the cross. Indiana State had the first touch, but taken away. And that will be a foul against the Sycamores.
Riley Teal pressing just a little too hard against Valparaiso.
And you want to talk about how physical this matchup has been. Indiana State now with 12 fouls compared to Valparaiso's 10.
22 fouls, and it's only going to go up from here. As each second passes by, Chase, they start to near desperation mode.
And in this type of situation, obviously Indiana State trying to get the ball into their offensive third. Do you push your defense up as much as you can?
Oh, definitely. 2 minutes is almost no time in soccer because you have to move along such a large portion of area. Right now, you have to push almost everyone up. Maybe keep Sullivan and Wallace back and push up. The more options you have up top, the better.
Able to get through a couple defenders. Wells' pass taken away. She had the deflection, and now the clear.
And Wells just a little too antsy with it. She had space. She could have taken it or turned and fired a pass to Sydney Hamker, but instead trying to one-touch pass, and those are almost never as accurate as you want them to be.
Valparaiso with another good clear, but it goes out. Set up a throw-in here for Indiana State, but under a minute and a half left to play.
Sullivan probably just going to boot this one up.
She'll try to send it forward towards Wells. Crusaders with the ball. Teal's pass off the mark, and it's just milking the clock right now. 60 seconds left to go. That ball set back over towards Riscasso.
Riscosa couldn't keep that one in, and Valparaiso just going to take off as much of the time as possible as they near a victory that should solidify their spot in the conference tournament.
And time keeps ticking away. It looks like Indiana State doesn't have an opportunity to move this ball forward right now.
And after about 90 minutes of soccer, both teams looking a little tired.
Valparaiso with possession of the ball. And that will do it for this one. After some late heroics and late goals, Valparaiso is going to win 2-1 over Indiana State.
Great game from both of these teams, especially in the second half, putting up 3 goals total after halftime. But you got to credit Valparaiso coming back after Indiana State, able to tie it up courtesy of Alina Steffen. But the Crusaders capitalizing on the opportunities that they got, and they're going to slide into the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament.
So from Garrett Short, I'm Chase Irick saying so long from Memorial Stadium in Terre Haute, Indiana, where tonight's final score is Valparaiso 2 to Indiana State's 1. To watch this entire game on replay as well as other games on our family of ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. Thanks everyone for watching. This has been a presentation of ESPN.